it's after us.
The day the Earth stood still, 1951, changed everything about how we view aliens in movies. Picture this, a massive flying saucer landing right in the middle of Washington, D.C. Out steps Klaatu, looking just like a regular human, but with this incredible message about peace. And then there is Gort, this towering robot that could literally melt tanks with his I-beam. I remember watching this with my dad on our old black and white TV, hiding behind a pillow whenever Gort appeared. The special effects might look simple now, but they were groundbreaking back then. The message about nuclear weapons and world peace was way ahead of its time. That famous phrase, Klaatu Barada Nikto, became like a secret handshake among sci-fi fans. Even today, I get chills hearing those words. War of the Worlds, 1953, brought pure terror to American screens. Those Martian machines with their snake-like necks and pulsing death rays haunted my dreams for years. The sound they made, that electronic howling noise, became the standard for alien sound effects. Gene Barry playing Dr. Clayton Forrester brought such intensity to his role. Remember that scene where the first Martian machine rises from the crater? Pure cinema magic. The effects team used copper models for the alien ships, and honestly, they still look amazing today. I watched this during a thunderstorm once, and let me tell you, every lightning flash had me checking the windows for those three-legged fighting machines. The scenes of mass panic in the streets felt terrifyingly real, especially with those heat rays vaporizing everything in sight.
And the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
A malevolent thing was happening to those he...
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, is the kind of movie that makes you question everyone around you. Dr. Miles Bennell discovers something terrifying. His small town's residents are being replaced by exact duplicates grown in giant alien pods. The genius of this film is how it plays with your mind. These pod people look exactly like your friends and family, but something is just off. I remember watching this at my first sleepover, and we spent the whole night checking if anyone was acting strange. The scene where they find the first pod person duplicate is pure nightmare fuel. Director Don Siegel created this perfect atmosphere of paranoia and suspense. Even the happy ending they added could not shake off that creepy feeling. When someone acts weird now, we still joke about pod people. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these movies actually gave you the creeps? Let us keep this conversation going.
What do you want with me?
Arrange for your world.
See the Saucer Man's high-frequency disintegrator.
Earth versus the Flying Saucers, 1956, showcases the incredible special effects genius of Ray Harryhausen. Those detailed flying saucers spinning through the skies and crashing into Washington, D.C. landmarks. Absolutely mind-blowing. I remember building my own saucer models out of paper plates and tinfoil after watching this. The sound design team created this unique humming noise for the UFOs that became the standard for how we imagine flying saucers should sound. Hugh Marlowe plays Dr. Russell Marvin perfectly, bringing real scientific credibility to the story. The scene where they discover how to fight back against the aliens using high-frequency sound waves had me experimenting with my dad's old radio equipment for weeks. And that climactic battle at the Capitol building? Pure movie magic that holds up even today. Every time I visit DC, I look up at the monuments and imagine those saucers flying around.
Between guided meteors and deadly rays.
What's your own?
This Island Earth, 1955, brings us the unforgettable Metaluna mutant with its exposed brain and insect-like claws. The gorgeous Technicolor effects made this movie stand out from other black and white sci-fi films of the era. Jeff Morrow plays Cal Meacham, a scientist who gets recruited by mysterious aliens for what he thinks is an advanced research project. The interstellar scenes, with their vibrant colors and that amazing spacecraft design, blew my mind as a kid. I tried to recreate the interocitor communication device using cardboard boxes and Christmas lights. The scenes on the dying planet Metaluna, with its mutant creatures and atmospheric special effects, created this amazing sense of alien wonder. Even the cheesy dialogue has this charming quality that makes the movie endlessly rewatchable.
Who were the all-powerful creatures it brought from outer space?
It Came from Outer Space, 1953, delivers desert mysteries and shape-shifting aliens that still hold up today. Based on a Ray Bradbury story, this movie takes place in Arizona, where strange lights in the sky lead to disappearing townspeople. Richard Carlson plays John Putnam, who discovers a crashed alien spacecraft in the desert. The way the movie handles the aliens, not as invaders, but as accidental visitors, was revolutionary for its time. I actually visited Arizona years later just because of this movie, and those desert scenes felt exactly like what I imagined alien territory would look like. The special effects team created these amazing floating eye creatures using practical effects that still look creepy today. The scene where the aliens take human form still gives me chills. That blank stare is nightmare material. Share your favorite alien design in the comments. Are you team Metaluna mutant or those creepy eye creatures? Let us know.
Gotta see the chief right away. Hi. Who are you?
Invaders from Mars, 1953, introduced one of the creepiest concepts in sci-fi: aliens controlling people through neck implants. Young David McLean wakes up one night to see a flying saucer disappear into a sandpit behind his house. Then everyone around him starts acting strange, including his own parents. The movie perfectly captures a child's perspective of alien invasion. Those sandpits terrified me so much that I avoided walking on sand for months. The Martian leader, with that weird gold fishbowl head, became one of the most iconic alien designs ever. Director William Cameron Menzies created these amazing tilted sets and weird angles that make everything feel like a nightmare. The police chief's emotionless face still haunts me. It's that blank stare that tells you something is terribly wrong. And those underground tunnels, pure nightmare fuel. Remember to ring that notification bell to catch all our upcoming classic sci-fi reviews. The Thing from Another World, 1951, brings the terror of isolation and paranoia to an Arctic research station. When the team discovers a crashed flying saucer in the ice, they accidentally thaw out something that should have stayed frozen. James Arness plays the alien creature, a super intelligent carrot man who can reproduce himself using blood from other life forms. Kenneth Tobey as Captain Hendry brings this perfect mix of military authority and human vulnerability. The scene where they form a circle to electrocute the creature had me on the edge of my seat. My dad and I watched this during a snowstorm once, which made it 10 times scarier. The constant wind howling outside the station creates this incredible atmosphere of isolation. Even today, those confined corridor scenes make me claustrophobic.
This town is in...
The Blob, 1958, stars Steve McQueen in his first leading role, fighting against a gelatinous alien creature that keeps growing bigger and bigger. The genius of this movie is how it starts small, just a tiny meteorite with something inside. Then it builds and builds until this massive red blob is oozing through a movie theater. I never felt safe in movie theaters after watching this as a kid. The scene where the blob squeezes through the projection booth window is pure horror gold. They used silicone and red dye for the blob effects, and somehow it looks more convincing than modern CGI. That catchy theme song, Beware of the Blob, stuck in my head for weeks. Every time I see Jell-O, I think about this movie. Drop a comment below. Which movie monster scared you the most? The shape-shifting carrot man, the growing blob, or those mind-controlling Martians? Let us know. Target Earth, 1954, gives us one of the creepiest scenarios, waking up to find your entire city completely empty. 4 survivors discover Chicago has been evacuated while they were sleeping, and now killer robots from Venus are roaming the streets. The tension builds perfectly as they try to figure out what happened. I used to imagine what I would do if I woke up to an empty city. Probably raid the candy store first, right? The robot designs were actually pretty advanced for the time, with this cool metallic finish that made them look truly alien. Richard Denning plays Frank Brooks with this perfect mix of determination and fear. The scene where they first spot a robot through a foggy street still gives me chills. The sound those mechanical invaders made, this deep, grinding noise, became the blueprint for how movie robots should sound.
Bela Lugosi, the seductive vampira, and 4 bullets bounce off.
Plan 9 from Outer Space, 1959, is famous for being, well, not exactly Oscar material, but that is exactly why we love it. Ed Wood's passion project features alien invaders trying to stop humans from creating a doomsday weapon by raising the dead. The flying saucers are clearly paper plates on strings. The tombstones wobble when touched, and the famous Bela Lugosi footage was filmed before he passed away for a completely different movie. But you know what? There is something magical about its earnest attempt at greatness. I host yearly viewing parties where we count the visible strings and continuity errors. The aliens' logic makes absolutely no sense. Why raise the dead to stop humans from making a weapon that could destroy the universe?
He'll kill everyone. We've got to stop now!
Easy, Dougie.
Killers from Space, 1954, stars Peter Graves as Dr. Douglas Martin, who experiences a mysterious plane crash and returns with a strange gap in his memory and weird surgical scars. Those bug-eyed aliens in their black leotards are both hilarious and somehow creepy at the same time. The underground alien base scenes, with their bizarre giant insects and lizards, were actually just footage of regular animals projected onto a large screen. I tried recreating the alien eyes for Halloween using ping pong balls. Did not work out quite as planned. The scene where Dr. Martin escapes through the underground tunnels had me holding my breath, even though those aliens look like they are wearing pajamas. The movie's atomic power plot was super relevant to 1950s audiences. Hey sci-fi fans, quick question. Which of these movies do you think deserves a modern remake? Would you keep the charming practical effects or go full CGI? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Classics, but it also gave us a lot of massive flops, lousy cash grab right from the start.
The Beast with a Million Eyes, 1955, is one of those movies that promises more than it shows, but that is part of the fun. Despite never actually seeing a beast with a million eyes, this movie delivers on psychological terror. The story follows a family living in a remote desert date farm when an alien force starts controlling animals and weak-minded humans. The scenes of birds attacking people came way before Hitchcock's The Birds. I remember watching this at my grandparents' farm. Big mistake. Could not look at their chickens the same way for weeks. The family dog turning against them really got to me because I had a similar-looking pet. Director David Kramarski created this creepy atmosphere with minimal special effects, proving sometimes what you do not see is scarier than what you do. That weird alien teapot spacecraft, though, pure 1950s creativity.
There's our cosmic man.
Atomic plants. I am here.
The Cosmic Man, 1959, feels like a friendlier version of The Day the Earth Stood Still. A mysterious glowing sphere appears near a small town, and out comes John Carradine as this peaceful alien trying to help humanity. The twist? He is invisible most of the time. I used to practice walking around my house trying to be as mysterious as the Cosmic Man. The scenes where he appears in that glowing suit fascinated me, achieved with simple light effects that somehow still look cool today. The philosophical discussions about humanity's future might go over kids' heads, but they really make you think. Every time I see a strange light in the sky now, I think maybe it is just the Cosmic Man coming back to check on us. The military's paranoid reaction feels so true to the era.
Mars? Into the same orbit as the Earth?
Very well.
Satan's Satellites, 1958, is actually a recut version of a Commando Cody serial. But what a wild ride it is. Rocket-powered hero with a leather jacket and helmet fighting alien invaders? Sign me up. The flying sequences used pretty creative wire work. I tried recreating them by jumping off our garage with an umbrella. My mom was not happy about that. The alien leader, wearing that weird rubber mask and cape, became my go-to Halloween costume one year. Those radar-jamming satellites might seem simple now, but in the 1950s, this was cutting-edge sci-fi. The ray gun battles and rocket ship chases are pure retro joy. Every kid wanted one of those rocket packs after seeing this movie. The aliens' plan to control Earth's weather seems especially relevant today. Taking a quick break, tell us in the comments about your craziest attempt to recreate movie special effects as a kid. We promise not to judge.
Get back! Shoot one!
Devil Girl from Mars, 1954, shows that alien invasion is not just a guy's game. Patricia LaFawn plays Naya, this leather-clad Martian woman who comes to Earth looking for male specimens to help repopulate Mars. The movie was clearly made on a shoestring budget, but that robot Chani, looking like a walking refrigerator, has become a cult classic. I tried making a Chani costume using cardboard boxes. Worked better than my Satan's Satellites rocket pack attempt. The scenes in the remote Scottish inn create this amazing isolated atmosphere. The philosophical discussions about gender roles were pretty progressive for the 1950s. That Martian spaceship design, like an electric stove turned sideways, is so wonderfully retro. Every time I see someone in leather pants, I joke about them being from Mars.
Weightlessness or dread anoxia lure him beyond all human far more than science knows or conjectures.
First Man into Space, 1959, takes a different approach to the alien threat. What if we become the monsters? When test pilot Dan Prescott flies too high in his experimental rocket, he returns as something not quite human. Marshall Thompson plays his brother who tries to help him while protecting others from what he has become. The transformation scenes, showing Dan covered in this weird cosmic material, gave me nightmares for weeks. I could not look at my mom's mineral collection without thinking about space mutations. The practical effects team created this amazing crusty makeup that still looks disturbing today. The scene where he stalks through the night looking for blood is pure horror gold. Who knew calcium could be so terrifying? The movie really captures that fear of the unknown in space exploration. The Mysterians, 1957, brought Japanese sci-fi excellence to the alien invasion genre. These dome-helmeted aliens show up claiming they need a small piece of Earth to rebuild their civilization. But you know how these things go. They actually want to breed with Earth women and take over. The special effects team at Toho Studios outdid themselves with massive robot battles and colorful ray gun fights. I spent weeks trying to draw those amazing Mysterian spaceships in my school notebooks. Their domed headquarters rising from the ground still looks incredible today. Director Ishiro Honda brought the same epic scale he used in Godzilla movies. Those Mogera robots crushing cities are pure destruction poetry. The scene where the Mysterians reveal their true faces shocked me so much I dropped my popcorn everywhere. Every time I see a dome building now, I get a little suspicious.
Steve, help me! Help me!
7 hours and his blood is still alive.
Night of the Blood Beast.
What kind of a monstrous thing?
Disintegrate the Earth with its photonic rays.
Spacemen, 1960, starts our countdown with a massive cosmic mystery. Astronauts discover an abandoned spacecraft floating in Earth's orbit, packed with evidence of an upcoming alien invasion. But here's the real kicker. The aliens are already walking among us. The film uses some clever practical effects that still look pretty good today, especially those miniature spacecraft models floating in the darkness of space. The tension builds slowly as our heroes realize that anyone around them could be an alien in disguise. The movie's greatest strength is its creepy atmosphere. There's this constant feeling that something's not quite right. When the aliens finally reveal themselves in the last act, it's a genuinely surprising moment that probably made audiences jump out of their seats back in 1960.
They've finally done it.
Oh, come on now, Pete. We're too old for
I'm not
scoffing.
too old.
Look, I said you...
The Day the Earth Caught Fire, 1961, takes a unique approach to alien invasion. Nuclear testing knocks Earth off its axis and straight toward the sun, while mysterious beings start appearing worldwide. The story follows newspaper reporters trying to uncover the truth, giving us a ground-level view of the growing crisis. The streets of London get hotter and drier as the movie progresses, with this amazing orange filter that makes you feel the rising heat. What makes this film special is how it focuses on regular people dealing with an extraordinary situation. The scenes of a deserted, sweltering London are absolutely unforgettable, and the way the movie builds tension through increasing temperature is genius. Watch out for the incredible shots of the Thames River completely dried up. Hey there, quick question for everyone watching. If you had to choose between fighting off aliens in freezing space or battling them in a burning hot desert, which would you pick? Drop your answer in the comments below.
Machine?
I love Pax.
Becomes man's worst enemy.
The Creation of the Humanoids, 1962, might be the strangest movie in our list. After a devastating nuclear war, blue-skinned robots start replacing humans with perfect copies. But here's the twist. These robots aren't evil invaders. They're actually trying to save humanity from going extinct. The makeup effects on these robots are incredible for the time period. They have these haunting silver eyes that seem to stare right into your soul. While the movie moves at a pretty slow pace, it asks some really interesting questions about what it means to be human. The scenes where humans discover their friends have been replaced are super intense. And get this, famous artist Andy Warhol actually said this was his favorite movie of all time.
Get out, quick!
They Came from Beyond Space, 1967, is a British gem that takes place in Cornwall of all places. A group of scientists investigates mysterious meteors that crash in a perfect V formation. But these aren't just regular space rocks, they're actually alien mind control devices. The best part? The hero is immune to the mind control because he has a silver plate in his head from an old accident. Talk about convenient. The aliens use human bodies as hosts while they repair their spacecraft, and there are some really cool scenes of people working like zombies in underground caves. The special effects might look dated, but the story keeps you hooked. Watch out for the scene where the aliens reveal their true form. It's both ridiculous and terrifying at the same time.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it still alive?
The Eye Creatures, 1965, is one of those movies that's so bad it's actually amazing. The aliens look like they're wearing suits covered in ping pong balls and giant googly eyes. The story follows teenagers trying to convince adults that aliens are invading their small town. A classic plot that never gets old. The night scenes were actually filmed during the day with a dark filter, which makes everything look hilariously weird. There's this great chase scene where you can clearly see the shadows from the afternoon sun, even though it's supposed to be midnight. The aliens have this funny waddle when they walk, and their eyes wobble around like party decorations. But you know what? There's something charming about how earnestly everyone acts in the film. Warning from Space, 1966, brings us possibly the strangest alien design ever put on film. Imagine giant starfish with human eyes floating around in spacesuits. These aliens come to Earth to warn us about an approaching planet that could destroy both our worlds. The special effects are a wild mix of practical suits and early optical effects that create some truly memorable scenes. The starfish aliens can also transform into human form, leading to some genuinely creepy moments where you're not sure who's human and who isn't. The scene where the first starfish alien appears is unforgettable. It slowly floats through a window, eye blinking, while everyone screams in terror. Even by today's standards, it's pretty unsettling.
Well, how could it have done all this so... Or is it some kind of a crazy...
The Bubble, 1966, is one of the first science fiction films shot in 3D, and boy does it use that gimmick. A young couple gets trapped in a strange town surrounded by an invisible force field. The whole place turns out to be some kind of alien zoo exhibit. The effects team went all out with objects floating toward the camera. Everything from chairs to balls to random debris keeps coming at you. The force field itself looks pretty cool, with this shimmering rainbow effect that was innovative for its time. The creepiest part is how all the townspeople act like robots, repeating the same actions day after day. There's this super tense scene where the couple tries to drive through the bubble, and their car gets completely crushed. Talk about claustrophobia. Here's another question for you all. If you could have any kind of special glasses, would you choose ones that let you see invisible aliens, or ones that let you see through alien disguises? Let me know in the comments.
This is Luna 3. We are receiving you...
Foreboding unknown soil.
First spaceship on Venus, 1960, is this wild East German-Polish production that somehow ended up playing in drive-ins across America. The story follows an international crew investigating a mysterious signal from Venus. The alien technology they find is genuinely creative. There's this weird liquid metal that moves on its own, and crystal structures that store memories. The special effects team went all out, creating this bizarre Venusian landscape full of moving plants and strange geological formations. The best part is the alien message they discover, warning about a failed invasion of Earth during the time of the dinosaurs. There's this incredible scene where they reconstruct an alien memory, showing massive spacecraft launching from a prehistoric Venus.
Bio, that away, I'm not the enemy.
The Earth Dies Screaming, 1964. Starts with a bang. Everybody in England just drops dead at the same time. Well, almost everybody. A handful of survivors gather in a small village and discover that robotic aliens are walking the streets, turning people into zombies with just one touch. The robots look like silver astronauts with blank faces, which is way creepier than it sounds. The whole movie has this intense atmosphere of isolation and dread. There's barely any music, just the sound of the robot's footsteps echoing through empty streets. The scene where they first spot a robot through the fog is absolutely chilling. And wait until you see what happens when someone gets touched. It's both cheesy and terrifying.
This creature may have come from another planet.
It from itself.
Invasion of the Star Creatures has got to be one of the weirdest alien invasion comedies ever made. Two bumbling army privates discover a secret cave where gorgeous alien women are plotting to take over Earth with an army of walking plants. These aliens look like supermodels in silver swimsuits, and their plant monsters look like guys wrapped in seaweed. The movie tries to be a spoof of serious sci-fi films, and honestly, it's so bad it's hilarious. The soldiers keep making these terrible jokes while fighting for their lives. There's this amazing scene where the aliens try to seduce them with space hypnosis, but they're too dim-witted to be hypnotized. The whole thing feels like a weird dream you'd have after eating too much pizza and watching late-night TV. Wait until you see their spaceship. It looks like a flying hairdryer.
Amazingly real. Why have you brought... No!
The day Mars invaded Earth brings the alien invasion right to a family's Beverly Hills mansion. A NASA scientist returns home after sending a probe to Mars, only to find out that he and his entire family have been replaced by identical Martian duplicates. The creepy part is how the duplicates don't even know they're copies at first. The empty mansion becomes super eerie as family members keep running into their own doubles. The swimming pool scenes are especially spooky. There's something terrifying about seeing your own reflection come to life and try to replace you. The film uses these long, quiet shots that make you feel really uneasy. And the twist ending? It still gives people chills today. The last shot of the empty swimming pool will stick with you for days. Quick question time. If you found out you were replaced by an alien duplicate, how would you prove to your friends and family that you're the real you? Drop your answers in the comments below. This should be interesting.
What have you got?
The Elliot. To space world. The living dead.
Planet of the Vampires looks more like a fashion show in space than a horror movie. But don't let that fool you. The astronauts wear these amazing leather suits with high collars that would make any runway model jealous. They land on a mysterious planet where an invisible force makes crew members turn against each other. The fog-filled alien world looks incredible, with all these twisted metal structures and glowing rocks. There's this incredible scene where dead astronauts rise from their graves in slow motion. It's pure horror movie gold. Some people say this movie inspired Alien, and you can totally see why. The way the crew explores the abandoned alien ship feels super familiar. Watch out for the scene where they find the giant alien skeletons.
Unbelievable. Things like this just don't happen.
With its chromosomes. It's true.
Night of the Blood Beast gives us one of the weirdest alien designs of the decade. Imagine a chicken mixed with a lizard and a gorilla, and you're getting close. The creature hitches a ride back to Earth inside an astronaut's body and starts laying eggs in the Space Center. The monster suit might look silly now, but the way they shot it, mostly in shadows and quick glimpses, actually builds some decent tension. The best scenes are when the creature psychically communicates with the scientists, trying to convince them it comes in peace while simultaneously terrorizing everyone. There's this great moment where they discover it's been absorbing knowledge from the astronaut's brain, which sounds cool until you realize it means eating his brain.
Who to see it?
The Crawling Terror might just be the strangest beach movie ever made. Picture this. Mysterious lights appear in the ocean, and suddenly giant lobster-like aliens start crawling out of the surf. These creatures look like someone raided a seafood restaurant's props department and added blinking lights. The teenagers on the beach are too busy with their surfing competition to notice the invasion at first. Classic 1960s movie logic right there. The aliens move super slowly, but somehow they still manage to catch everyone. There's this hilarious scene where a guy tries to fight one off with a beach umbrella. The best part is when they discover the alien's weakness. Good old-fashioned rock and roll music. Apparently, the high frequencies drive them crazy. Who would have thought a beach party band would save the world?
With an incredible arsenal of weapons. Lives and bring them down.
Mission Stardust takes the alien invasion idea and flips it completely upside down. Based on a German sci-fi novel series, it features aliens who look exactly like humans coming to Earth to steal our gold, but for a surprisingly good reason. They need it to create a miracle medicine to save their dying planet. The aliens cruise around in this awesome retro spaceship that looks like a flying chrome dinner plate. There's this incredible sequence where they demonstrate their advanced technology by stopping time itself. The whole thing plays out like a weird mix of James Bond and Star Trek. Watch for the scene where they accidentally turn the Sahara Desert into glass. The special effects are actually pretty impressive for the time. Speaking of special effects, here's a question for all you retro sci-fi fans. Would you rather see obvious practical effects that look kind of cheesy but charming, or early CGI that hasn't aged well? Let me know your preference in the comments.
Professor, in the telescope, the GPS...
Space Attack proves that even in the 60s, aliens were obsessed with our social media. Well, sort of. These aliens hijack TV broadcasts to hypnotize viewers into becoming their willing slaves. The special effects department went wild with psychedelic colors and swirling patterns that were probably pretty trippy on those old TV sets. The heroes have to figure out how to break the hypnotic signal while avoiding all screens and broadcasts. There's this fantastic scene where they realize the only safe people are those who couldn't afford TVs. The whole thing plays like a weird commentary on television addiction, complete with scenes of zombie-like viewers shuffling through streets with blank expressions. Wait until you see their solution. It involves broadcasting static set to polka music.
The passions of the explorers in space.
Should burn up when it hits the atmosphere.
Yes, it should, but suppose one...
Mutiny in Outer Space gives us space fungus as our alien invader, and it's way creepier than it sounds. A space station crew brings back samples from an ice cave on the moon, not realizing they've just unleashed a fast-growing alien mold that can survive in space. The fungus starts taking over the station, growing these weird glowing tentacles that pulse and move. There's this incredibly tense scene where they discover the fungus has gained intelligence and is learning from their attempts to destroy it. The practical effects team went all out, using expanding foam and black lights to create this eerie, otherworldly threat. The best part is when they realize the fungus is actually trying to digest the entire space station. Watch for the scene where it starts growing inside the spacesuits. Pure nightmare fuel for anyone with a fear of mold.
Deadly weapon cuts a head in two. Watch as the blushing to thrill you. Suspense.
The astro-zombies has one of the most bonkers plots ever. A mad scientist creates solar-powered zombies from dead bodies, but then aliens show up wanting to steal his technology. The zombies look like guys wearing welding masks with blinking Christmas lights, and the aliens aren't much better. They're basically wearing silver jumpsuits and Halloween masks. The whole thing plays out like a fever dream, complete with random spy subplots and inexplicable dance numbers. There's this amazing scene where a zombie gets into a car chase, but since it's solar-powered, it stops working when it goes through a tunnel. The aliens keep trying to capture the zombies while fighting government agents, creating this weird three-way battle that makes absolutely no sense. Time for another audience question. If you had to choose between fighting solar-powered zombies or intelligent space fungus, which would you pick and why? Drop your strategy in the comments below.
You know, he flies.
Well, the picture, please. That fancy Mickey Mouse.
The Monitors might be the weirdest social satire ever disguised as an alien invasion movie. These super polite aliens in business suits and sunglasses show up to help humanity by enforcing really strict rules about everything. No more junk food, no loud music, no running in the halls. It's like the whole world got sent to detention. The aliens are hilariously passive-aggressive, leaving sticky notes everywhere about proper behavior. There's this fantastic scene where they try to improve human entertainment by turning action movies into educational documentaries about proper posture. The resistance fighters combat them with pranks and bad jokes, because apparently, the aliens can't handle humor. Watch for the scene where they discover the aliens' weakness.
4, and they have decided to destroy us. except tomorrow.
I want to transplant my head on a healthy body. I think I like to donate my body to science after all.
He made us all think his wildfire lab could handle any contamination from outer space.
You did it! Let me tell you about the Andromeda strain from 1971. This movie totally flips the script on what we think of as an alien invasion. Instead of big spaceships or scary monsters, we're dealing with something you can't even see. A microscopic organism from space that's killing people instantly. The film follows this team of scientists racing against time in this super high-tech underground lab, trying to figure out what this thing is before it spreads everywhere. What makes this movie so scary is how realistic it feels. It's based on Michael Crichton's book, and he was known for making science fiction feel like it could actually happen. The best part is all the cool lab equipment and procedures they show. It's like watching a documentary from the future. The movie was directed by Robert Wise, who knew how to build tension without relying on cheap scares. It's pretty mind-blowing to think that something too small to see could wipe out humanity.
We are joined together temporarily. Could I have a cigarette?
Oh, sure, honey.
Here's a wild one. The Thing with Two Heads from 1972. Now, I know what you're thinking. What does a movie about a head transplant have to do with aliens? Well, this movie is actually a really unique blend of science fiction and horror that plays with alien technology concepts. The story follows this rich, racist surgeon who demands his head be attached to another body when he's dying. The twist? He ends up on the body of a black death row inmate. What makes this one interesting for alien movie fans is how it uses what was supposedly recovered alien medical technology to make the whole head transplant thing possible. The special effects might look cheesy now, but back in '72, this was cutting-edge stuff. While it's not your typical alien invasion movie, it shows how '70s filmmakers were playing with alien tech ideas in really creative ways.
You're looking at it as if it was human. It was not human.
From deep space.
You absolutely have to hear about 1978's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This remake of the 1956 classic is straight up terrifying, and it stars Donald Sutherland with his legendary 70s hair. The movie's set in San Francisco, where these weird alien pods start replacing people with perfect copies while they sleep. What makes this version so creepy is how it plays into the whole 1970s paranoia vibe. You literally can't trust anyone, not even your closest friends. There's this scene where someone's dog has a human face that still gives people nightmares. The effects team did an amazing job with the pod people transformations, using practical effects that hold up pretty well even today. And that ending, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it's one of the most shocking endings in sci-fi history. This movie basically took everything great about the original and cranked it up to 11. What's your take on these early portrayals of alien threats? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Cyborg relations, and this is my counterpart, R2-D2.
Hello.
Okay, let's talk about Star Wars from 1977. I know, you're probably thinking, wait, isn't this more of a space fantasy? But here's the thing. This movie completely changed how we think about aliens in films. Before Star Wars, most movie aliens were just scary invaders from space. But George Lucas gave us this incredible universe filled with all sorts of alien species just hanging out together, doing their thing. Think about that iconic cantina scene. You've got all these wild-looking creatures just chilling in a bar like it's totally normal. The movie's got everything from Chewbacca, who's basically a walking carpet with a heart of gold, to those weird little Jawas with their glowing eyes. And let's not forget the practical effects that brought all these aliens to life. They used masks, puppets, and costumes instead of fancy computer graphics, and somehow it still looks amazing today.
Additional scenes designed to expand the...
Get ready for something special. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, also from 1977. This was Spielberg's love letter to the idea that maybe just maybe, aliens aren't here to destroy us after all. The whole movie follows Roy Neary, this regular guy played by Richard Dreyfuss, who becomes obsessed with aliens after seeing some weird lights in the sky. What makes this movie so different is how it builds up to the alien reveal. No invasion, no violence, just this amazing sense of wonder. The effects team created these incredible UFO scenes using lights and models, and they still look magical today. And that 5-note musical theme? It's become like a universal symbol for alien communication. The scene where Roy starts making a mountain out of his mashed potatoes is so famous that people still reference it today when they're acting obsessed about something. Here comes Alien from 1979. And trust me, this one changed the horror sci-fi game forever. Ridley Scott took the idea of alien invasion and shrunk it down to one ship, one creature, and one seriously unlucky crew. The genius part? We don't even see the full alien for most of the movie, just glimpses that make your imagination go wild. The whole thing feels like a haunted house story in space, with the added terror that the monster could be anywhere because it's using the ship's air vents like its personal highway system. Sigourney Weaver's Ripley became the blueprint for every tough sci-fi hero that came after. And let's talk about that alien design. H.R. Giger created something so weird and scary that even today, nothing else looks quite like it. Fun fact, they actually used real animal parts to make the ship's interior look more organic and creepy. Have you watched any of these unique takes on alien stories? Drop a comment with your experiences.
What do you mean? Take me with...
You might be able to save him.
Mary Lou.
The Man Who Fell to Earth from 1976. Imagine David Bowie, already looking like he's from another planet, playing an actual alien. It's perfect casting. He plays this extraterrestrial who comes to Earth trying to find a way to save his dying planet, which is in the middle of a massive drought. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of doing typical alien stuff, he becomes this super successful businessman using advanced technology from his world. The movie's got this weird, trippy vibe that perfectly captures the 70s. There are these amazing scenes where we see his alien form, all orange and smooth-skinned. But most of the time, he's just Bowie being mysteriously otherworldly. What makes this movie special is how it focuses on the alien becoming more and more human, getting caught up in Earth stuff like TV, alcohol, and romance. It's less about invasion and more about how Earth changes those who visit it.
Moses and Jesus, really?
Are you going to tell me all those people are meant to die?
Check out God Told Me To from 1976, and boy, is this one a wild ride. The story starts with something that seems totally unrelated to aliens. People in New York suddenly start killing others, claiming God told them to do it. But here's where it gets crazy. There's this mysterious figure with blonde hair and glowing eyes who seems to be behind it all. The main character is this Catholic detective who starts investigating these murders, only to discover this insane conspiracy involving alien experimentation and religious cults. The movie mixes alien abduction stories with religious horror in a way that nobody had really done before. There are these really intense scenes where people's bodies start glowing from the inside, done with some pretty creative practical effects for the time. It's one of those movies that keeps throwing curveballs at you right up until the end.
Bring their quest to the terrified eyes of man, Earth's existence.
You've got to hear about Starship Invasions from 1977. This Canadian sci-fi film stars Robert Vaughn as this expert on UFOs who gets caught in the middle of a space war. Here's the setup. There are these good aliens and bad aliens fighting over Earth, and we're basically caught in the middle like ants at a picnic. The good aliens wear these shiny white spacesuits, while the bad guys rock these amazing black outfits with helmets that look like something out of a disco fever dream. The special effects are exactly what you'd expect from a 70s B movie. Lots of miniature spaceships on visible strings and ray guns that shoot obvious laser beams. But that's part of what makes it so fun. There's this great scene where they show an underwater alien base that's clearly a fish tank with some model buildings in it, but they play it totally straight. Which movie's alien concept intrigued you the most? Discuss with us below.
Than we've ever seen before, and they have decided toward to, except tomorrow.
Let's dive into End of the World from 1977, starring the legendary Christopher Lee. This movie's got one of the wildest premises ever. Aliens disguising themselves as Catholic priests. And not just any priests, they're running this whole research center filled with mysterious equipment. Christopher Lee plays this super suspicious priest who's definitely giving off major not from around here vibes. The best part is when they reveal their true plan. These aliens are actually trying to decide whether Earth deserves to survive or not. There are these amazing scenes where the fake priests start using their alien technology, which looks exactly like what you'd expect from the 70s. Lots of blinking lights and weird electronic sounds. The special effects team went all out with the alien reveal scenes, using this cool blue lighting effect whenever the aliens show their true forms. It's got that perfect mix of 70s cheese and genuine creepiness.
What do they want?
Phase 4 from 1974. This one's a real trip. It's the only movie ever directed by Saul Bass, the guy who made all those famous movie title sequences. The story's about these super intelligent ants that might be controlled by aliens, and it gets pretty intense. Instead of showing actual aliens, the movie focuses on these ants doing impossible things, like building these geometrically perfect structures and working together in ways that ants definitely shouldn't be able to. The cinematography of the ants is incredible. They use these amazing macro lenses to get super close-up shots that make the ants look absolutely alien. There's very little dialogue, but the sound design is incredible, with all these weird electronic noises whenever the ants are communicating. It's like a nature documentary from another dimension. Have these films sparked your interest in 70s sci-fi? Tell us which ones you love. Laser Blast from 1978. This movie takes the alien invasion idea and flips it around in a really weird way. Instead of aliens invading Earth, it's about this teenager who finds an alien weapon, and things go completely off the rails. The weapon looks like this big green crystal thing that attaches to your arm and shoots these ridiculous laser beams that cause everything to explode in spectacular fashion. The special effects are exactly what you'd expect from a low-budget 70s movie. Lots of bright flashes and things blowing up with obvious pyrotechnics. The best part is how the main character slowly starts turning into this weird alien-human hybrid, complete with green makeup that looks like it came from a Halloween store. There are these government agents chasing him around, and the whole thing feels like a crazy mix between a teen rebellion movie and a sci-fi thriller.
All the white people disappear?
125th Street next.
White folks get strange all the time.
The Brother from Another Planet from 1978. This one takes such a unique approach to the alien visitor story. Our main character is this extraterrestrial who looks completely human, except he's mute and has these weird feet. He lands in Harlem and starts experiencing life as a black man in New York City. What makes this movie so special is how it uses the alien angle to comment on social issues, but never gets preachy about it. There are these great scenes where his alien powers let him fix broken electronics just by touching them, which leads to some pretty funny situations. The best parts are when these alien bounty hunters show up looking for him. They're dressed like men in Black Way before that was even a thing.
8 and 8 are 16. 16 and 16.
You're in pain.
Embryo from 1976. While it's not your typical alien invasion movie, It's got this really cool angle about alien technology influencing human experiments. Rock Hudson plays this scientist who uses what he thinks is alien tech to speed up human growth and development. The result? He creates this super intelligent woman who ages years in just days. The effects are pretty wild. They use time-lapse photography and makeup to show the aging process, and for the 70s, it's actually pretty convincing. Things get really intense when all sorts of side effects start showing up. The movie plays with this creepy idea that maybe aliens are influencing our scientific discoveries, and not in a good way. There's this amazing lab sequence that looks like something straight out of a mad scientist's fever dream. What do you think about the special effects used in these classics? Share your opinions.
Destroy worlds of interstellar blackmail and moon. Adventure beyond your wildest
The Shape of Things to Come hit screens in 1979, borrowing its title from H.G.'s A. Wells, but taking the story in a wildly different direction. Set in the year 2055, Earth is locked in battle with robots from another planet who've claimed our moon as their next conquest. The special effects showcase pure 70s creativity. Miniature spaceships clearly made from plastic models and robot costumes that look like disco-inspired versions of C-3PO. The space battles are hilariously charming, with visible strings holding up the ships during their epic encounters. The massive model sets for the moon base could have come straight from a retro toy commercial. One of the best moments features a robot army scene where they obviously reused the same 5 robot costumes multiple times, hoping viewers wouldn't catch on. Despite its budget limitations, it captures that unique 70s sci-fi spirit perfectly.
We think it was a controlled landing.
Well, we're not going to go running around yelling.
Hangar 18 arrived in 1979, surfing the massive UFO conspiracy wave that dominated the decade. Darren McGavin and Robert Vaughn star as investigators dealing with a captured UFO that might hold proof of centuries-long alien visits to Earth. The film plays out like a political thriller with an alien twist, following government officials scrambling to hide evidence while scientists explore a genuine alien spacecraft. The ship's interior perfectly captures 70s sci-fi design. Blinking lights everywhere, strange geometric patterns, and control panels that would look right at home in a disco club. One memorable scene reveals alien writing that suspiciously resembles glow-in-the-dark doodles. The real magic happens as layer after layer of secrets gets peeled away, building tension with each new discovery.
I'm not Elizabeth! I'm not! Amy.
But a ritual as old as...
Demons of the Mind emerged in 1972, masquerading as a horror film while weaving in subtle alien influences throughout its story. The plot centers on an aristocratic family's descent into madness, but with an extraterrestrial twist. Their deteriorating sanity might actually be the work of alien forces manipulating their minds. Rich Gothic atmosphere fills every frame, from misty forests to shadow-filled castle corridors lit by flickering candles. Rather than showing aliens directly, the film creates tension through mysterious lights, piercing windows, and otherworldly sounds that seem to come from beyond the stars. The most powerful moments come when family members exhibit bizarre behavior, leaving viewers guessing whether they're witnessing traditional madness or alien control. The Daytime Ended burst onto screens in 1979, packing a unique combo of alien visitors and mind-bending time travel. A family moves into their solar-powered desert home, only to find themselves caught in a wild series of events after a mysterious green light appears in the sky. The effects team went crazy creative with stop-motion creatures, including these tiny aliens that look like they stepped out of a Ray Harryhausen fever dream. Some scenes feature this amazing crystalline pyramid that glows and pulses with alien energy, all done with practical lighting effects that still look pretty cool today. The movie throws everything at the wall: dimensional portals, miniature UFOs buzzing around like angry bees, and even a giant stop-motion monster that shows up for basically no reason. It's like someone took every 70s sci-fi idea and crammed them into one film. Which of these movies would you recommend to a friend? Let us know in the comments.
No! I'm a human being from the planet Earth!
Message from Space landed in 1978, bringing Japanese sci-fi style to the alien invasion genre. The movie's packed with these incredible visuals where glowing space seeds, yes really, seek out heroes to save a planet from evil aliens. The costume design goes completely over the top. The bad guys wear these metallic outfits that look like someone raided a disco queen's closet and added space helmets. The space battles feature dozens of miniature ships zipping around, leaving colorful light trails like cosmic fireworks. There's this amazing scene where a space fortress transforms, using old-school practical effects that would make any 70s sci-fi fan grin from ear to ear. The whole thing plays out like a wild space opera with martial arts and laser guns thrown in for good measure.
The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Get them out of there!
Dad? Are you okay, Dad?
Fine.
Baby!
He came down here with a spot.
Without Warning from 1980 remains one of the most unique alien invasion films ever made. This incredible movie stars Jack Palance hunting aliens that throw living discs at their victims. These biological weapons latch onto people's necks and drain their blood, creating some of the most memorable practical effects of the early 1980s. The tension builds perfectly throughout the film, especially during the night scenes in the woods where the floating alien discs stalk their prey. The grainy film quality and electronic score capture that perfect 1980s horror atmosphere, while the remote setting adds to the feeling of isolation. The alien design, though simple, creates genuine scares through creative cinematography and practical effects work. The movie proves that sometimes less is more when it comes to creating tension.
25 years ago, they came from another galaxy and...
Strange Invaders from 1983 combines classic invasion stories with groundbreaking visual effects for its time. The movie follows a professor searching for his ex-wife in a small town that's been taken over by aliens since the 1950s. The reveal scenes where human faces peel away to show glowing blue aliens underneath remain spectacular examples of practical effects work. The movie perfectly captures small-town paranoia and combines it with science fiction elements in ways that influenced later films. The neon-colored special effects and practical makeup work still hold up today, creating a unique visual style that defines 1980s science fiction horror. The scenes of aliens harvesting humans and storing them in crystal containers presented a terrifying vision of extraterrestrial invasion that hadn't been seen before. The blend of 1950s invasion tropes with 1980s effects creates something special. Have you ever wondered which 1980s alien movie scared people the most? Share your scariest alien movie memory in the comments below. Was it the first time you saw an alien burst out of someone's chest? Or maybe when a shape-shifting creature revealed its true form? Your comments help us build a community of classic horror fans who appreciate these forgotten gems.
You can make it happen.
Xtro from 1982 pushes the boundaries of British science fiction horror to extreme levels. A father returns home after being abducted by aliens, but something is terrifyingly wrong with him. The transformation scenes use incredible practical effects that will make your skin crawl, setting new standards for body horror in alien invasion films. The movie features some of the most disturbing alien designs of the decade, including a notorious scene where a woman gives birth to a fully grown man. The synthesizer soundtrack creates an otherworldly atmosphere that pulls you into its bizarre story, while the practical effects team created memorable moments using simple materials and creative camera work. The film's unique approach to alien invasion through personal transformation influenced countless movies that followed. Every scene brings new horrors that stick with viewers long after watching.
They get in through your mouth, and you walk around while they incubate.
Zombies.
Night of the Creeps from 1986 delivered a perfect blend of alien parasites and zombie horror. The movie brilliantly combines classic horror elements with science fiction and dark humor that would influence films for decades to come. Detective Cameron steals every scene with his film noir-style dialogue, while the alien slugs create pure chaos across the college campus. The practical effects for the zombie transformations look incredibly gross and realistic, showcasing the talent of 1980s effects artists. The sorority house invasion sequence remains a masterclass in building tension, with each infected person adding to the growing army of alien-controlled zombies. The film creates an escalating sense of dread throughout its runtime while maintaining its unique sense of humor. The combination of aliens, zombies, and comedy shouldn't work, but somehow it creates something special.
Causing a little trouble around the house.
This dude's into me! Terrorvision from 1986 embodies everything weird and wonderful about 1980s horror comedy. When an ordinary suburban family installs a massive satellite dish, they accidentally receive an alien transmission that materializes as a hungry monster in their home. The movie features incredible creature designs and satirizes everything from New Age culture to horror movie tropes of the era. The monster puppet effects look amazing, especially during the feeding scenes where practical effects create genuinely impressive moments. The neon-colored set design and over-the-top performances create a unique viewing experience that could only exist in the 1980s. The movie even includes a fictional TV horror host who provides commentary throughout the story, adding another layer of entertainment. Every scene pops with color and creativity that defines the best of 1980s practical effects work. Now I'm curious, which setting scares you more? Deep space or small-town America? Drop your answer in the comments below and tell me why. I bet your reasons will surprise other viewers.
No terror surrounds you. What?
The Deadly Spawn from 1983 proves low budget doesn't mean low quality. This independent horror film features some of the most impressive creature effects of the decade. The story follows alien creatures that crash to Earth in a meteor and take shelter in a basement, growing larger as they consume their victims. The main alien design, with its multiple heads and countless teeth, creates unforgettable imagery that rivals big-budget productions. The basement scenes use shadows and practical effects to build incredible tension, while the gore effects still shock viewers today. The film demonstrates how creative practical effects and smart cinematography can overcome budget limitations. The sound design, mixing alien screeches with a tense score, adds another layer of horror to every scene. This movie influenced countless creature features that followed.
Oh, we gotta make sure those things stay down there.
Seal the lab! Everybody out!
My God, General, this is madness.
Wavelength from 1983 takes a unique approach to alien contact. Instead of invasion, the story follows a woman who discovers aliens being held captive in a secret government facility. The electronic score and neon-lit scenes create a perfect 1980s atmosphere, while the government conspiracy elements tap into the paranoia of the era. The film features impressive practical effects for its alien designs, creating creatures that appear both familiar and otherworldly. The scenes of psychic communication between humans and aliens use creative visual effects that hold up surprisingly well. The movie raises interesting questions about government secrecy and human-alien contact while delivering solid science fiction entertainment. The underground facility sequences create genuine tension through clever use of lighting and sound design.
Biding its time until the right human comes.
In Semanoid from 1981, brings alien horror to a distant planet. When an archaeological team discovers an ancient alien civilization, one crew member becomes infected with alien DNA, leading to terrifying consequences. The movie's practical effects create some truly disturbing moments, especially during the transformation sequences. The claustrophobic sets of the underground tunnels and space base add to the mounting tension throughout the film. The alien design combines organic and crystalline elements to create something truly unique for the era. The movie's isolated setting and growing paranoia among the crew members builds incredible tension. The practical effects work, especially during the later scenes, demonstrates the creativity of 1980s horror filmmaking. Each shadow could hide another alien threat, keeping viewers on edge throughout the story. Quick question for all you horror fans. What's the creepiest practical effect you've ever seen in an 80s movie? Share your memory in the comments, and don't forget to mention which movie it's from.
How many worlds are there in the universe? Millions. Perhaps billions.
Contamination from 1980 brings Italian horror style to alien invasion. When mysterious eggs start appearing around the world, they explode when heated, spraying green liquid that causes people to violently explode. The movie combines science fiction horror with action elements, as investigators trace the eggs back to their alien source. The practical effects for the exploding chest scenes rival anything from major Hollywood productions of the era. The pulsating alien eggs create genuine tension whenever they appear on screen, while the Mars investigation sequence presents a unique take on alien origins. The movie's electronic score perfectly matches the rising tension throughout the story. The government conspiracy elements tap into Cold War fears, while adding another layer to the alien invasion narrative. Every scene builds toward a shocking conclusion that stays with viewers.
Dead. Galaxy. Stranded astronauts Edward L.
Galaxy of Terror from 1981 takes the haunted house concept to outer space. When a rescue mission arrives on a mysterious planet, each crew member faces their deepest fears made real by an alien force. The movie features incredible production design that creates a genuinely alien atmosphere. The practical effects work brings various horrors to life, from alien creatures to psychological manifestations. The cast includes early performances from several well-known actors, adding depth to their doomed characters. The movie's exploration of fear and survival creates genuine psychological horror alongside its alien threats. The underground alien structure sequences use lighting and practical effects to create a truly otherworldly environment. Each character's confrontation with their fears provides unique horror sequences that showcase different styles of practical effects work.
Signals, I got readings in front and behind. There's nothing back here.
Aliens from Venus from 1985 brings a unique approach to alien invasion. In this Spanish science fiction horror film, aliens use radio signals to control human minds, starting with a small coastal town. The movie's practical effects for the alien-controlled humans create disturbing imagery through subtle changes in appearance and behavior. The seaside setting adds isolation to the growing paranoia as more townspeople fall under alien control. The electronic score builds tension throughout the film, while the practical effects for the final alien reveal remain shocking. The movie explores themes of conformity and loss of identity through its alien invasion narrative. The transformation of familiar locations and people into something subtly wrong creates genuine psychological horror alongside its science fiction elements. Here's a challenge. Describe your perfect alien monster design using 3 words only. Drop them in the comments below. Mine would be tentacled teeth nightmare. Let's see how creative you can get.
It's waiting for us. We landed. I had waited for them to.
Creature from 1985 takes familiar alien horror elements to a moon of Saturn. When a corporate mission discovers alien artifacts, they unknowingly awaken a shape-shifting creature that begins hunting them one by one. The movie's practical effects create some genuinely disturbing transformation sequences that showcase the best of 1980s horror makeup work. The confined space station setting adds to the claustrophobic atmosphere, while the alien design combines biological and mechanical elements in unique ways. The movie uses lighting and shadows effectively to build tension, especially in the maintenance tunnel sequences. The corporate greed narrative adds another layer to the standard alien horror story, while the practical gore effects remain impressive today. Each character death brings new opportunities for creative practical effects work that demonstrates the talent of 1980s effects artists.
Why are you telling them lies about me? I want my tape back. I want it back.
Dave Brennan. Right now, as much as you think.
The Arrival from 1988 follows an alien scouting mission gone wrong. When extraterrestrial scouts crash land in a small desert town, they must blend in with the local population while waiting for rescue. The movie combines science fiction elements with dark humor as the aliens struggle to understand human behavior and customs. The practical effects for the alien true forms create memorable reveals throughout the film, while the desert setting adds to the isolation. The movie's exploration of small-town life through alien eyes provides unique perspectives on human behavior. The gradual revelation of the aliens' presence builds tension effectively, while the practical effects during the transformation sequences showcase creative solutions to budget limitations. Each interaction between aliens and humans brings new opportunities for both horror and humor. Time for a fun debate. Which decade did alien movies better? The 80s or the 90s? Defend your choice in the comments. And yes, you can use these forgotten gems as evidence.
Fine. Because something strange is happening.
Invaders from Mars from 1986 reimagines the 1953 classic with stunning practical effects. When a young boy witnesses a flying saucer landing behind his house, he discovers his parents and other townspeople are being controlled by aliens. The movie features incredible creature designs by Stan Winston Studio, especially in the underground alien base sequences. The practical effects for the alien controllers and their massive leader create memorable nightmare fuel that defined 1980s horror. The movie builds tension through the boy's isolation as more adults fall under alien control. The school sequences are particularly effective, turning familiar environments into sources of alien horror. The transformation of trusted authority figures into threatening entities plays on universal childhood fears. The practical effects during the climactic base invasion showcase the height of 1980s creature design and animatronics. Here's an interesting question. What modern actor would you cast in a remake of any of these movies? Tell me your pick and why in the comments below. The Being from 1983 brings alien horror to a small Idaho town dealing with radioactive waste. When a mysterious creature begins attacking locals, the mayor tries to cover up the incidents to protect the town's economy. The practical effects for the mutant creature create genuinely disturbing imagery that combines alien and radioactive mutation elements. The movie's exploration of environmental themes adds depth to its horror narrative, while the practical gore effects remain shocking today. The creature design evolves throughout the film, becoming more threatening with each appearance. The small town setting and government conspiracy elements tap into 1980s paranoia about nuclear waste and cover-ups. Each attack sequence showcases different aspects of the creature through creative practical effects and lighting. Biohazard from 1985 combines alien invasion with government experiments. When a secret facility accidentally summons an alien creature during teleportation experiments, they must contain both the creature and the truth. The practical effects for the alien design create a unique being that combines insectoid and humanoid elements. The movie's confined facility setting adds claustrophobia to the mounting tension as the creature hunts survivors. The practical effects during the transformation sequences demonstrate creative solutions to budget limitations. The government conspiracy narrative adds another layer to the standard alien horror story. The movie uses lighting and shadows effectively to build suspense, especially in the facility's maintenance areas. Each encounter with the creature reveals new aspects of its abilities through practical effects work.
This guy scares me. You will terminate.
Not of This Earth from 1988 updates the 1957 classic with modern practical effects. An alien in human form arrives on Earth seeking blood for his dying race. The movie combines science fiction horror with dark humor as the alien struggles to understand human behavior while harvesting blood. The practical effects for the alien's true form create memorable reveals throughout the film. The movie builds tension through the alien's methodical approach to collecting specimens while adding moments of fish-out-of-water comedy. The transformation sequences use creative practical effects to show the alien's true nature. The urban setting provides plenty of opportunities for the alien to encounter various aspects of human society, leading to both horror and humor. Each blood collection scene showcases different practical effects techniques while building toward the ultimate revelation of the alien invasion plan. One last question before you go. Which of these forgotten gems deserves a modern remake the most? Share your choice in the comments and tell me how you'd update it for today's audience. Life Force from 1985 takes vampire mythology into space. When astronauts discover seemingly perfect humanoid bodies in Halley's Comet, they unknowingly bring an ancient evil to Earth. These space vampires unleash a devastating plague across London, turning victims into energy-draining zombies. The movie features groundbreaking practical effects, especially during the soul-draining sequences where victims literally disintegrate on screen. Director Tobe Hooper creates a unique blend of space horror and supernatural terror, supported by incredible practical effects work. The scenes of London falling into chaos showcase ambitious practical effects on a massive scale. The movie's bold combination of nudity, horror, and science fiction pushed boundaries for its time. The transformation of a single discovery into a city-wide apocalypse creates escalating tension throughout, while the practical effects work remains impressive even by...
I knew it. This is an alien, and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
Nah, start.
It's here!
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years.
Let's kick things off with Independence Day. This movie was everywhere in 1996. Picture this. I'm sitting in the theater, clutching my popcorn, and bam, that White House explosion scene hits. Everyone in the theater gasped at the same time. Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum's dynamic duo energy was just perfect. The way Smith says "Welcome to Earth" before punching that alien pure gold, and those massive flying saucers hovering over cities, they felt so real back then. The practical effects combined with early CGI created something magical that still holds up today. I remember spending weeks building mini cities with my Lego sets just to recreate those destruction scenes.
Please come to Earth, please.
To meet with a new people.
Speaking of 1996, Mars Attacks gave us a completely different take on alien invasion. Those Martians with their ACKAC sounds became the most quoted thing at school. Tim Burton really went all out with this one. The star-studded cast was amazing, but those aliens stole the show. Their big brains, bug eyes, and skeleton ray guns were both hilarious and creepy. Remember when they zapped everyone into colorful skeletons? That scene had me both laughing and hiding behind my hands. The trading cards that inspired the movie became super popular in our neighborhood. We'd trade them during lunch breaks, trying to collect all the gruesome alien attack scenes. The movie perfectly balanced horror and comedy in a way that only the 90s could pull off. Here's a fun one. Which 90s actor would you cast as the lead if you were making a new alien invasion movie today? Let me know in the comments.
They'll have to destroy it.
But let's talk about something that really changed the high school movie game. The Faculty. This 1998 thriller had us all side-eyeing our teachers. Every time a teacher acted weird, which was like all the time, we'd whisper "alien" under our breath. The scene where they find out water kills the aliens? Classic. And that pen trick with the drugs that could identify aliens? We definitely tried recreating that with pencils, minus the drugs, of course. Josh Hartnett and Elijah Wood killed it in their roles. Plus, the soundtrack was totally killer. Here's a question for you. Which of your teachers did you secretly suspect might have been an alien? Drop your answers in the comments below.
I guess you guys don't get out much.
Things got pretty steamy and scary with Species in 1995. This wasn't your typical invasion movie. Instead of spaceships, we got Natasha Henstridge as a human-alien hybrid. Those H.R. Giger designs were absolutely terrifying. The way she could transform from beautiful woman to deadly alien in seconds had us all freaked out. The chase scenes through Los Angeles were intense, and that final battle in the sewer, pure nightmare fuel. Forrest Whitaker's empath character added such a cool dimension to the alien hunt. My friends and I spent weeks discussing the whole alien DNA concept, wondering if there could really be alien genes hidden in our DNA somewhere.
First wave! You smash the entire area, you kill them!
Then 1997 brought us Starship Troopers, and holy cow, what a ride. This movie totally fooled us all at first. Looked like just another space action movie, right? But those brain-sucking bugs? Pure nightmare material. The movie's propaganda style was so clever, though most of us didn't get the satire until years later. Those news breaks between scenes were genius. Would you like to know more? Became our group's inside joke. Neil Patrick Harris in that Nazi-inspired uniform still creeps me out. The special effects team did an amazing job with those giant bugs. The scene where they attack the outpost still gets my heart racing. And let's be honest, who didn't want one of those awesome power suits? If you had to choose one alien invasion movie to represent the 90s, which one would it be and why? Let's debate in the comments.
So for 5 days, UFO abduction ever reported.
Now, if you want to talk about movies that made us question reality, Fire in the Sky from 1993 scared us all into never going hiking again. Based on Travis Walton's true story, this movie made alien abduction feel way too real. The abduction scene with those medical experiments, I literally couldn't sleep for days. The way they showed the inside of the alien ship with all that weird organic material and those floating examination pods. It was unlike anything we'd seen before. The cast really sold the whole small town dealing with something beyond their understanding vibe. The scene where Travis reappears traumatized and confused, Robert Patrick's performance was incredible. Every time I see a bright light in the woods now, I think about this movie.
Dad, we have a bug.
I knew it. This is an alien and you guys...
Then came Men in Black in 1997, and suddenly everyone wanted to rock a black suit and sunglasses. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones created pure magic on screen. That scene where Will Smith is doing the physical tests, especially the shooting range part, pure comedy gold. The alien designs were so creative. Remember that guy whose head grows back? Gross, but awesome. The neuralizer became everyone's dream device. I can't count how many times. I flashed a light at my siblings, trying to make them forget about something I did wrong. The practical effects for the aliens were amazing, especially that little alien hiding in the human head. And Edgar the bug? Still, one of the creepiest yet funniest villains ever. 1998 brought us Dark City, and wow, did it mess with our minds. It was like film noir met aliens in the coolest way possible. Those pale guys in black coats who could stop time and reshape the city? Super creepy. The way they'd all freeze at midnight to rearrange everything? That scene still gives me chills. Rufus Sewell's confusion matched our own as we tried to figure out what was real. The rotating city sets were mind-blowing, and the whole tuning concept was so unique. Jennifer Connelly's Torch Singer character added this perfect noir touch. The underwater scene where he finally learns to tune himself, that was next level. The whole movie felt like a fever dream in the best possible way. Be honest, which of your teachers gave you Sirius the Faculty vibes? Share your suspicious teacher stories.
Something's going on here, Shar. What is it that they're trying to hide? Back. I want it back.
They've branded his theory paranoid.
Speaking of mind-bending sci-fi, The Arrival landed in 1996 with Charlie Sheen making us believe in climate-changing aliens. Those backwards-bending knee aliens were so creepy, I spent weeks after watching people's legs just in case. The way they disguised their huge radio telescopes as power plants? Genius. The whole global warming conspiracy angle was way ahead of its time. That scene where he discovers the alien in Mexico? The way it unfolds itself still freaks me out. And those spherical pods that could generate their own atmosphere? Such a cool concept. The rooftop chase scene had us all on the edge of our seats. Plus, that ending twist about who was really an alien, didn't see that coming.
We have no weapons of any kind. It's here!
And how could we forget Alien 3 from 1992? Sigourney Weaver shaved her head and took on an alien in a prison. Talk about intense. The whole gothic atmosphere of the prison planet was perfect for an alien horror show. That scene where they realize the alien's hiding inside the prison walls? Pure tension. And when they discover it came from a dog instead of a human? That was a wild twist. The practical effects for the alien running on all fours were incredible. Charles S. Dutton's character added such great depth to the story. The religious angle with the prisoners was unique too. Sure, some fans weren't happy about certain character deaths, but you can't deny this movie's unique vision.
I'm seeing people at the Inferno. People afraid of them.
The 1993 version of Body Snatchers took us to an army base, and man, did that setting work. Gabrielle Anwar nailed it as a teenager, realizing everyone around her was being replaced. That scene where the woman's face splits apart while screaming, I still see it in my nightmares. The way they showed how military structure made it easier for the aliens to take over was genius. The tension when she had to pretend to be emotionless to blend in? Edge of your seat stuff. The pod reproduction scenes were super gross but fascinating. And that helicopter escape sequence? Absolutely wild. Forrest Whitaker showed up again, proving he was the go-to guy for 90s sci-fi. The military base setting added this whole new layer of paranoia to the invasion story. If you were a teen in the 90s, which actor would you cast in your dream alien invasion movie? Drop your ultimate 90s dream cast in the comments.
I killed this man. I'm not sure anybody else could claim to either.
You've seen more than you should.
Then 1998 brought the X-Files movie to the big screen, and all our TV conspiracy theories went supersized. Those killer bees carrying the alien virus? Terrifying. The black oil aliens were so creepy. The way it would move under people's skin made my skin crawl. Martin Landau's paranoid character added such great conspiracy flavor to the whole thing. Remember that cornfield scene with the huge alien ships? Pure movie magic. The underground facility scenes felt so claustrophobic and real. Plus, seeing Mulder and Scully in a theater was such a treat. That almost kiss scene? Every X-Files fan lost their minds. They managed to tie everything into the show's mythology while still making it work for newcomers.
She's been for the last 7 years, Doctor.
Event Horizon hit theaters in 1997, and while some debate if it's truly an alien movie, those interdimensional horror scenes definitely count. Sam Neill's descent into madness was absolutely terrifying. The ship's design was incredible, like a giant metal cathedral floating in space. That ship's log video? Still the stuff of nightmares. The way the gravity drive created that otherworldly dimension was so creative. Remember when they found the original crew's remains? Pure horror gold. Lawrence Fishburne's captain was such a great contrast to Neill's scientist gone mad. The rescue mission gone wrong format worked perfectly here. And those hallucination scenes? They still haunt me to this day.
There is something still running inside.
What's in his hand?
1998 also gave us Sphere, with an all-star cast trapped underwater with a mysterious alien object. Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, and Samuel L. Jackson brought their A-game to this deep-sea mystery. The way they handled the psychological aspects of isolation was brilliant. That scene where they first see the sphere? Pure science fiction magic. The manifestation of their fears through the sphere's power was such a cool concept. Remember when those jellyfish appeared out of nowhere? Creepy. The whole idea that their thoughts could become reality underwater added such great tension. Plus, the ending twist about the sphere's true nature? That had everyone talking. The claustrophobic underwater setting made everything feel so much more intense. Would you survive an alien invasion? Tell me your go-to survival strategy based on these movies. Best plan gets pinned.
Hey. What happened up there?
But to his wife.
Just when we thought 1999 couldn't get any weirder. The astronaut's wife arrived with Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron. The whole is he or isn't he an alien plot kept us guessing throughout the entire movie. That spacewalk incident that changes everything? Such a creepy setup. The way Johnny Depp's character slowly becomes more and more off was super well done. Remember the scene with the electric shock? Made me jump out of my seat. The pregnancy subplot added such a terrifying dimension to the whole thing. The way they handled the paranoia and isolation of Charlize Theron's character was brilliant. Those twin babies subplot, extra creepy. And that ending sequence with all the electrical phenomena? It took Body Snatchers to a whole new level, and I'm still not over it.
It's on Earth to neutralize the war on the ground here.
How do you know it's dead?
Until it turned its sights.
Let's talk about Screamers from 1995. Peter Weller fighting against self-replicating underground machines with alien origins? Sign me up! The whole post-apocalyptic vibe of the mining colony was perfectly gritty and realistic. That scene where they discover the teddy bear is actually a screamer? Most terrifying stuffed animal ever. The way the machines evolved to look more and more human was such a clever twist on the alien invasion concept. Remember when they couldn't trust who was real anymore? The tension was incredible. The practical effects for the basic screamers were so good. Those whirring blade sounds still make me nervous. Plus, those underground tunnel scenes, pure claustrophobic horror. The whole Cold War allegory worked perfectly with the science fiction elements.
Radio source from deep space can neither be confirmed nor denied.
This announcement all over the world may well constitute
1997 brought us Contact, and finally, someone took a more thoughtful approach to Alien Contact. Jodie Foster's performance as Dr. Arroway was incredible. She made us all want to become scientists and start listening to the stars. That opening sequence traveling through space, mind-blowing and still holds up today. The way they handled the science versus faith debate was so much more mature than your typical alien movie. Remember that first alien signal scene? The excitement in the control room felt so real. The whole mystery of the machine blueprints kept us guessing until the end. And that beach scene? Still debated by fans today. The use of actual CG equipment and procedures made everything feel more authentic. Plus, that scene with the video of her father, such an emotional gut punch. Time machine question. Which of these movies would you sneak into theaters to watch again for the first time?
I should say accident. That might be related to
What did she tell you?
Let's get nostalgic. Closing out our journey, Village of the Damned's 1995 remake proved Christopher Reeve could direct just as well as he could act. Those creepy alien children with their glowing eyes became the stuff of nightmares. The way they moved and acted in perfect synchronization was so unsettling. Remember when they made that guy shoot himself? Such a shocking scene. The whole concept of an entire town falling unconscious was brilliantly creepy. Plus, those mind control scenes where they forced people to harm themselves? Super disturbing. Kirstie Alley's performance as the government scientist added such great tension to the story. The way they showed the children's powers evolving was truly frightening. And that final showdown in the barn. Such an intense ending to a really underrated gem. Oh man, we can't forget Stargate from 1994. Kurt Russell and James Spader became the most unlikely but perfect duo in sci-fi history. That first time they stepped through the gate? Pure movie magic that still gives me goosebumps. The ancient Egyptian alien concept was mind-blowing. Those scenes where they first meet Ra sent chills down our spines. Remember when they taught the locals how to write? Such a clever plot point. The practical some. Effects for the alien technology were incredible, especially those Death Glider ships. Plus, those huge pyramid spacecraft, totally iconic. The whole fish out of water story with the military team worked perfectly, and that final showdown with Ra, epic sci-fi action at its finest. This movie kicked off a whole franchise, and it's easy to see why. It had everything.
Still moving.
What the hell is that?
Drones are being manipulated.
They're capable of transmitting nudge.
And finally, The Puppet Masters from 1994 brought Robert Heinlein's classic story to life. Donald Sutherland battling alien parasites that attach to people's backs? Terrifying. The way they handled the paranoia of not knowing who was controlled and who wasn't was so well done. Remember that scene where they had to strip down to prove they weren't infected? Such a tense moment. The practical effects for the parasites were super gross, but amazing. The way they moved and attached to people still makes my skin crawl. Plus, the father-son dynamic between Sutherland and Eric Thal added such great emotional weight to the story. Those government conspiracy elements? Perfect for the 90s. And that finale where they had to infiltrate the alien nest? Edge of your seat stuff. If aliens invaded today, which movie's scenario would most likely happen? Defend your choice in the comments. So, what do you think made these 90s alien invasion movies so special? Was it the practical effects? The pre-CGI charm? Or maybe it was just that perfect mix of practical and early computer effects? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic content. And, hey, if you're watching this at night, maybe check under your bed for body snatchers, just in case. See you in the next video.